All right, guys. So, hey, welcome. I know you guys have been asking, or several people have been asking about e-learning activity number 7, which is due Friday. So I'm going to go ahead and make that video before I make the one about the poetry PowerPoint, which you guys might not necessarily need. This one, though, you're going to want to know how to do, right? Okay, so I'm just going to give a little model of how to do, not all of it, but a good portion of it. Okay, so first of all, let me just tell you about Act 3. Okay, that's not what I want. Here it is. Okay. Hide that. Good. Okay. All right. So essentially, Act 3 starts off. Macbeth has done the deed. Macbeth has become powerful. Okay. That we were talking about the peripeteia, the wheel of fortune is turned. Now Macbeth has gone from kind of on the side to the top. Okay. So now he's the king. He's got it all. He's Glamis, Cawdor, everything. Right. And of course, in leadership positions, people get paranoid. And that's exactly what he does. He gets paranoid, and he hires some guys to come in and kill Banquo and Fleance. Why does he do that? Well, you remember the third prophecy that the witches gave him was essentially to Banquo. It wasn't even to him. He said, your sons are going to be kings. You won't be kings. So this automatically sets up that opposition between Macbeth and Banquo. Okay. So what I've done is I've just put up a version. This is the version I would have given you had I seen you, face to face in class. The version that I put online is a little different. It doesn't have the No Fear Shakespeare translation on it. What I want you to do for that, since you're reading it anyway, I'd like you to read the No Fear Shakespeare Act 3, as you're reading it, okay? So that's the idea. But anyway, so let's look at this scene here. So, in part 1, please read the following excerpt and tell whether it's situational irony, which is when what happens is the opposite of what one expects to happen, dramatic irony, when the audience knows something the characters don't, or verbal irony, when someone says the opposite of what they mean. So the murderers come back. They give Macbeth a report. The murder was botched. Fleance got away. They killed Banquo, but Fleance got away. So this is Macbeth prepares his dinner, and he's supposed to be having Banquo there as the guest of honor, right? But he knows he's going to kill him, so that's all kind of fake, just for everybody else that's coming. So when he doesn't show up, he's going to be like, where is he? But he does show up, unfortunately for Macbeth, and he shows up in the form of a ghost. But right before he does, Macbeth is talking with this murderer about how Fleance got away, okay? First of all, he's starting to tell him all this bad stuff, right? Most royal Sir Fleance is escaped. So Fleance has escaped. Then comes my fit again. I had else been perfect, whole as marble, founded as the rock, as broad and general as the casing air. But now I'm cabined, cribbed, confined, bound to saucy doubts and fears. But Banquo's safe. And remember, he's around people, so he can't. I mean, it's not like he's not like he's talking in front of anybody, but I guess he just doesn't want to say murder in front of all these people. So they use almost like a code language, but really what they're using is a form of irony that we've talked about many times, okay? So he says, but Banquo's safe, and essentially, as you'll see in the No Fear Shakespeare, what they say is Banquo's been taken care of, because that's literally what he means. But what he says is the opposite, okay? And the murderer says, I, my good lord, safe in a ditch he bides, okay? So, what kind of irony is this? Thanks for that. That's what Macbeth said. Well, let's think about it. What type of irony is reflected when somebody says the opposite of what they mean? Well, we know that's verbal, right? Now, let's explain that. I would say something along these lines. When Macbeth talks Banquo being safe, let's put those in quotation marks, he really means dead. Now, this is another example of verbal irony that Shakespeare's audience would have picked up on, and they loved this for whatever reason, and Shakespeare loved it too, but they did it all the time. And they love it. And people still do it, but it's not exactly sarcasm, but it's still verbal irony, right? It's just the opposite of what you mean, okay? All right, now we go down to this part 2. Okay, so after Macbeth has that dinner party from hell, literally almost, because Banquo comes there as a ghost and shows up, um, him and Lady Macbeth are talking, and you can tell he's kind of getting crazier and crazier as the time goes on. Um, so I'm trying to get you guys to figure out what part of figurative language is this, because remember, our vocabulary is figurative language. And so we got metaphors, similes, hyperboles, personifications, and illusions. What's that noise? Blood will have blood. All right, so listen. I know some of you are looking at this and saying, blood will have blood. Well, blood can't have anything. But really, what he means is blood will beget more blood. Okay? And the No Fear Shakespeare, it's not exactly what I would say is a translation. I mean, this is how they translate it. The dead will have their revenge. But essentially, blood will have blood. So blood will make more blood. I think is kind of what he means. Now, you could say that that's personification, but I would say that it's a reference to the Bible, and that's what I've found it to be. So if you read the commentary, a possible reference to Genesis 9:6, whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. So essentially, and that's not my idea, somebody else wrote that, I just found it. So blood will have blood is a reference to Genesis. Or the verse, or Genesis 4:10, the voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the earth, therefore thou art cursed from the earth. I think it's the first one, but essentially, we know that this is an illusion, right? Okay, please provide a short paraphrase of the passage here. Okay, well, let me read both of them, okay? I'm going to read the original and the No Fear Shakespeare. It will have blood, they say. Blood will have blood. Stones have been known to move and trees to speak. Augurs that understand relations have by magpies and choughs and rooks brought forth the secretest of man's blood. What is the night? So, sounds confusing. I understand a little bit of it. So let me go over here to the No Pure Shakespeare. There's an old saying, the dead will have their revenge, blood will make more blood. Gravestones have been known to move and trees to speak, to bring guilty men to justice. Okay, the craftiest murderers have been exposed by the mystical signs made by crows and magpies. How late is the night? So essentially, I think he's saying something like this. Um, blood, whoops, blood will get more blood. Strange things have been known to happen when evil is done, and men must often answer for the evil they do. Okay, something like that. If you wanted to go back up to the No Fear Shakespeare and just say, see these things, mystical signs and stuff, these are like omens that bring forth birds. There was something back in the day called bird signs. When they saw a bird, this was an omen, all right? Especially if a bird was doing something weird, like if you saw a hawk carrying a dead snake or a hawk carrying another hawk, or it was supposed to be an omen of something to come. And people believed in those omens, and to some degree, they're kind of true because, well, maybe it's only because you pick up on them more when there's an ominous situation about. I don't know. It could be that. It could be like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I said, let's see. Blood will beget more blood. Strange things have been known to happen when evil is done, and men must often answer for the evil they do. All right, let's go on down to the last part. Oh, this is great. All right, so he's still talking here to Lady Macbeth. This is in Act 3. I think it's Scene 4. And he's talking about what he's done and how he might as well just keep going. He might as well continue. I hear it, by the way, but I will send. There's not one of them but in his house a servant. I keep a servant fed. I will tomorrow, and betimes I will to the weird sisters. More shall they speak, for now I am bent to know, by the worst means, the worst. For mine own good, all causes shall give way. So he's talking to Lady Macbeth, and he's saying, tomorrow I'm going to go see the witches. I think they have more to tell me. They've already given him the 3 prophecies. When he goes to talk to them tomorrow, they're going to give him 3 more. But he says, You know, um, well, let's look at the No Fear Shakespeare so I can tell you exactly what he's trying to say here. I've heard about this indirectly, but I will send for him if every one of the Lord's households I have paid a servant to spy for me. So he's got somebody spying for him. He's on the lookout for his enemies. Always, he's more and more paranoid. Tomorrow while it's still early, I will go see the witches. They will tell me more because I'm determined to know the worst about what's going to happen. My own safety is the most important thing. And then he says the metaphor that I wanted you guys to pick up on, okay? I am in blood, stepped in so far, should I wade no more, returning where it's tedious as go over, okay? So essentially, and if you can look right at the translation here, I have walked so far into a river of blood that even if I stop now, it would be just as hard to go back. I'm so far in the river, I might as well keep going. So, and it's a river of blood, mind you. So what might he do? Well, he might as well just go ahead and keep killing people. He's already killed so many, you know. And that's a really apt and good metaphor for how he's feeling right now. I'm in blood steeped in so far that should I wade no more, returning where it's tedious as go over. So, just as hard to go back than the way I came than to go over. I might as well just keep going. So he's going to kill more people, right? As you guys will see when he arranges the murder of Macduff's family, which is horrible. What type of figurative language is presented? Metaphor. All right, guys. I always leave it to you, but the part that I want you to paraphrase is right here. I am in blood stepped in so far that should I wade no more, returning where it's tedious to go over. If I go over here to the No Fear Shakespeare, I have walked so far in this river of blood that even if I stop now, it would be as hard to go back to being good as it is to keep killing people. So I might as well just keep killing people. Essentially, that's what I want you to paraphrase. That is what I want you guys to put into your own words, okay? So, number 6, that's on you, remember? I'm out of what the answers to the rest of them, but for this one, you guys got to look at that yourself, okay? All right, guys, good luck with this. And remember, it's due Friday night before 11:59 p.m. And guys, if you guys have late work to turn into me, y'all need to turn it in, okay? All right, other than that, I'll see y'all later. Godspeed. How do I turn this off?